They're spamming SOW. Same old.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, this happens, bro, every time. It's no one's fault. It's just, yeah. Something goes wrong.
Jeff,
And it's no one's fault. It's just.
Jeff, try now. Try talking.
We're good. Can you hear us?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Are we going? All right. Thank God, dude. All right. Thank God. Sorry, guys. Sorry for that. All right. We're back. Thank gosh. Appreciate our friends over at Planet Fitness. It just seems like we sometimes have the worst luck on these off-site broadcasts, and it's frustrating. But again, thank you guys for being patient. We're excited. There's a lot more to get to. Like I was saying earlier before, I was muted and you guys couldn't hear me. But regardless, trade deadline was yesterday. Lions made a move. A lot of other teams made a move. We're going to recap all that and more. We're going to go to quick break real quick because we're 13 minutes into the first segment. So it's time for break. When we come back, we'll get into the Chase Young stuff. We'll get into the Montez Sweat stuff. And then, of course, we'll recap Donovan Peoples-Jones and we'll give our thoughts on the trade itself. Because a lot of today will be talking Lions fans off a ledge. A lot of it will be sharing our criticisms, sharing our concerns for what happened yesterday. And I had time to sleep on it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you saw how frustrated I was yesterday. But listen, I still trust what the Lions are doing. I still trust Brad Holmes. I still trust Dan Campbell. And I'll get more into that when we come back from break. But again, thank you guys for being patient. I'm just as frustrated as you guys are. All right. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Hamlin Pub because, guys, if you ever wanted to be at a bar, we are known as a regular. We have just the place for you. Head to one of Hamlin Pub's 7 locations and experience where everyone's a regular. We'll see you at Hamlin Pub when we do our next live post-game show there. Experience your new favorite pub for all things sports. See you in a little bit. We'll get right to the trade deadline.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Calling all landscapers, this is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Join Woodward Sports and Laundry live every home game for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market and Shed number 5, and it is always a bash starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
All right, we're back. And again, guys, thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for sticking with us. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And we're here to do some of the trade deadline recap from yesterday. And, are we good now?
They can hear you. It's
okay, you guys can hear me. All right, well, I'll just keep going. Just making sure you guys can hear me so I can continue here.
Jeff, they can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, you guys saw what happened yesterday. You guys saw it. The Detroit Lions made a trade, but it wasn't the trade that everybody probably expected, which was to get defensive line help or get help in your secondary. They acquired Donovan Peoples-Jones, who, Michigan receiver, very productive last season for the Cleveland Browns. I'll be honest with you guys, this trade tells me more about Jameson Williams. I'm being real. I know Dan spoke about it in his press conference. So did Brad Holmes. He had a pretty last-minute press conference. It's supposed to be Dan Campbell's. Brad Holmes spoke to the media. And their explanation on it was, you get a guy that checks all the boxes. And you guys know how Brad Holmes works with this stuff. They check the person, and then they check the player, and then they check the fit. And Donovan Peoples-Jones checked all those boxes. So I get that. And listen, this offense has been fine with Amon-Ra. There'll be times where he's out, and they still they miss him, of course, but they're still able to win ball games. So this has nothing to do with Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like the trade. I'm fine with it. I think they traded a 6th-round pick for him. So it was a dirt cheap trade anyway. In other news around the league, and before we get to the how it relates to the Lions, the San Francisco 49ers traded for Chase Young. And they traded a 3rd-round pick for Chase Young. The Chicago Bears traded a 2nd-round pick for Montez Sweat. Of course, you guys saw the Leonard Williams trade as well. Went to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2nd and a 5th. Kevin Byard was traded to Philly. That already happened. You guys know about that, a 5th and a 6th. And then you had some other trades that happened around the league. I mean, of course, just to name a few, Joshua Dobbs to Minnesota for a late-round pick swap. It was the move up around. It was a 7th for a 6th. Of course, for Arizona. And then Minnesota gets Josh Dobbs, which, again, I spoke about it yesterday. If you're Minnesota, you do move like this. You trade for Josh Dobbs. It makes sense.
Josh Dobbs.
And, they're going to lose a bunch of games, and you're going to be in a position to take a quarterback. So that's how that works. Josh Dobbs is not going to lead them to the playoffs, unfortunately. But regardless, other trades that happened, I'll go through a couple more of them because it wasn't a ton of trades. A couple teams traded for one guy here, one guy there. I mean, you guys already saw the McCole Hardman, J.C. Jackson, all that stuff. Razul Douglas, corner for the Green Bay Packers. He's now a part of the Buffalo Bills. I believe Jacksonville, they picked up an offensive lineman. They traded with Cleveland. Minnesota for their offensive starting guard for them. But just how this relates back to the Detroit Lions, of course, with the Chase Young stuff. And I'm not bailing on what Brad Holmes is doing. I'm not bailing on what they're building, right? Because I believe 100% in Brad. I believe 100% in Dan Campbell. But I was shocked that of all the positions that you could go out and get, I'm not even mad they got a wide receiver, but you didn't get a corner or a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
And it's not even about Chase Young, but they're one. And Dan brought this up too. He's like, hey, we just feel like we're one injury away. Marvin Jones, of course, stepped away, so we needed to replace him as well, which I understand. But they said, hey, we feel like we're one injury away. What about one injury away from maybe, Aiden Hutchinson?
Ooh, yeah.
If he goes down, what the hell are you going to do?
Yeah.
I would make an argument you're better off at wide receiver or just with your pass catchers than you are at defensive line or corner. Is that fair?
Oh, I mean,
because we saw what happened when Jerry Jacobs missed the game. This second year he got torched.
Oh, yeah, it 100%.
And we have not seen Aiden go down, but God forbid he goes down for a couple games. You're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
If Amon-Ra goes down, you've seen them win a game without him. Yeah. They're not winning a game without Aiden Hutchinson, Sam Flannel.
No, they're most certainly not. And this is, I, like you, kind of had a bit of I would say, a knee-jerk reaction where I was a little bit upset. I am trying to be level-headed because many, many things can be true, and I think we would all agree with this. The Lions, even if they stand pat, especially if they get James Houston back, they can still make a run at this. They could still even get the 1 seed, I think, based more on scheduling than anything else. But when it comes to Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think you would be a little bit naive to think that it has nothing to do with maybe they've lost some faith in Jamison Williams. I mean, I made a joke yesterday. I don't think I put it on social media, but I think I said it in the group chat that Donovan Peoples-Jones this year has all of 8 receptions for 97 yards.
But I do like Donovan Peoples-Jones though.
That's fine.
Because last year he had 800 and made a lot of plays last year.
That's fine, but I mean he couldn't really crack the rotation in Cleveland. I'm just saying his 8 for 97 actually though was more than Jamison Williams' 6 for 71. And I'm just saying. So if Jamison Williams, I think we would all agree if he was who we expected him to be, which he was in Tampa Bay, but in no other game, maybe the Donovan Peoples-Jones trade wouldn't have been necessary. Maybe that wasn't their thought process, but to me, it says a lot about JMO or maybe their lack of belief in him because as of right this moment, there's not a whole lot of reason to believe in him based off a sample size.
When you look at feel like Marvin Jones. When you look at that, do you think it's a Marvin replacement?
I mean, but replacing Marvin Jones for what? He didn't do anything.
No, but they need
a
body to fill him in. You know what I mean?
And
like
I
they
get
had to pick somebody up.
I get that. I guess my point is, would you guys, and I'll ask the audience and I'll ask you guys, if you lose, and Chuck made this point, if you lose a star player, you're screwed. 100%. I'm not saying that. But where do you like your chances better? No Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you got Reynolds, Khalif, Jamison, you got Sam Laporta. I mean, hell, Antoine Green was playing snaps.
They scored 42 points with. I mean, it was against Carolina.
Hold
but
on.
Yeah.
Or do you like your chances in case Aiden goes down, or maybe a Cam Sutton goes down? Do you like your chances better on the defensive line with an injury, the secondary with an injury, or at wide receiver with an injury?
Wide receiver, 100%.
Okay,
because we've seen
that's all the point I'm trying to make.
As I said, we've seen it. I know it was against Carolina, but they put up 42 points in that game. I'm not saying that the Lions could withstand Amon-Ra St. Brown being out for multiple weeks, but for one or two, absolutely. But without Aiden Hutchinson, I mean, as much, I would say, as a lot of players have stepped up, like Aleem McNeil, for example. He's had an excellent season. Alex Anzalone's another one. He even got a couple sacks last week. Their second leading sacker when it comes to edge rushers is Julian Okwara with 2. Charles Harris has 1.5. John Kaminsky has 1. I mean, that's not really, and James Houston's out for now. We don't know for how much longer.
Right.
If Aiden Hutchinson goes out, there really isn't a whole lot to, I would say, to supplement. I would feel very, very worried, especially since even though their defense has improved, I still think it's the weaker unit on the team as opposed to offense. Conversely, look at the San Francisco 49ers now and all of the depth they have at the defensive line. Listen to these names: Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargraves, and Drake Jackson. All of them. Every single one of them. Now Nick Bosa has his bookend edge rusher, and they have a ton of other help on the defensive line. And you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, as we always said, one of their biggest weaknesses this season, I would argue their biggest weakness, has been their secondary. Darius Slay and James Bradbury have been disappointments. Losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson has obviously hurt them, but they went out and got Kevin Byard, who's been an All-Pro twice, who I think at his best is an upgrade over the best that C.J. Gardner-Johnson ever gave them. And then you look at the Seattle Seahawks even, who you have to take seriously as a competitor in the NFC because they are now division leaders over the 49ers. They went out and got Leonard Williams. What is the weakness of their defense, I would say? I would say it is their defensive line and edge rush. They have excellent linebackers in Jordan Brooks and Bobby Wagner. They have an excellent secondary led by Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, Quandre Diggs, and all that. But now they get help on the defensive line. And now you get to have Boye Mafe with Jaron Reed and Leonard Williams, and all of a sudden you're looking at a defense that maybe was missing a piece and got it. I'm not saying it's the end-all be-all for the Lions. I'm not saying to panic. I'm not saying that they can't win anything. It's an arms race in the NFC.
Yes, and by the way, we're gonna go to break in a little bit, and I'm gonna get into more why I'm not, there. Of course, we're still optimistic, and I'll tell you the other side of it. I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah,
and it's not me saying Brad's plan is off course or I've lost faith in what he's doing. That's not it at all. All I'm doing is simply asking questions, and what frustrates me is you can't ask questions.
No, you can't.
You just can't. And people, no, how dare you ask any questions? Brad Holmes is human, by the way. Like, he can make mistakes, too. The guy's not perfect, and I love Brad Holmes. But just because somebody's upset or confused and they want to ask questions, that's 100% fair. Like, for me, to be like, hey, I'm curious. The secondary, if you lose a Jerry Jacobs or a Cam Sutton, you're one injury away from being just picked apart. We've seen that already.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I could ask questions. Like, that's where the difference is if I ask questions, Sam, people assume I'm hating. Or people assume that I'm off Brad Holmes, or I do not agree with what he's doing. I just simply ask questions. And I'll get into more why I'm willing to still be faithful next segment, because there is still optimism. And I'll explain where I'm coming from with where the Lions stand in the NFC, because that's relevant. And I'll tell you why the NFL, especially the NFL, and if you guys have been watching the NFL, you know how this works. This is not a year-to-year league. A lot of things can change. People can just assume one thing and the other thing happens. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain that more in depth when we come back from break. But first, Sam, could you tell the people about Premier Pet?
Absolutely. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I certainly don't settle when it comes to my golden retriever, Jake, and my orange cat, Milo. Give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Are you a die-hard college football fan? To the house! Touchdown! Well, it's your lucky day. Join WSN Spencer Raxter and Flannel Sam this Saturday for the Michigan State pregame show. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel this Saturday and tune in live from 5:30 to 7 p.m.
Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win. Register at drinkcintron.com/Vegas and buy Cintron at your local Meijer store. Cintron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself with Cintron. That is drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network out in Planet Fitness in Shelby Township. Shout out to our friends over at Planet Fitness for having us out here. Number one, we're talking trade deadline. We're talking Detroit Lions. And again, and I don't want this to be a bitching session. This is not what it is. It's just simply a conversation. I want to have a conversation with my guys and the people, you guys as well. And this is what I love doing. I love bringing this stuff up and just chopping it up. And one thing I thought about yesterday is, am I disappointed? A little bit, but we can't just act like Brad didn't try either. I don't want that to come off like Brad didn't even try to acquire these guys. I'm sure Brad made a ton of phone calls. Dan even said he's been busy on the phones. We don't know if Brad made offers and they were declined or the Commanders took a better offer. Like, there's so much context in that, so I don't even want to act like Brad didn't do anything. That's a little ridiculous. Like, I saw things on Twitter saying fire Brad Holmes, he's a fraud. All that stuff is ridiculous. It really is. No one's doing that today. Brad Holmes is the best GM I've ever seen in my lifetime, so we're going to stick with that. But the reason why I am a little disappointed, Sam, is just in this year. And when I say, well, damn, you missed out on Chase Young for a third-round pick. And by the way, the San Francisco 49ers, if he leaves, they get a third-round pick back. You do realize that, right?
Oh, yeah.
A compensatory pick. They'll get a third back.
Yes.
So regardless if he stays there or not, they're going to get rewarded for that. But regardless, you look at the NFC and you look where the Lions are. The NFC is wide open. You guys know this. And the Lions are 6-2. They're in the race. Now people would say, well, Jeff, they're a winning team. They're one of the best teams in the league. And I would say I agree with that. But it's tough when the other three teams that you're competing with, Sam, the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Eagles, all got better. Better than you.
Yeah.
And listen, it is what it is. They're better than you, though. They are.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and say the Lions can still beat them. They can. This is the NFL. You could beat anybody. But do I like the Lions' chances more now? No. I actually like them less. But it is what it is. The goal was always this year to win a playoff game. Maybe I got a little too out of pocket by saying they're a Super Bowl team. Maybe I should never have said that, because in the NFC where it stands right now, people assume that this thing will gradually just get better, meaning, next year we'll be at the top of the NFC and the next year we'll be at the top of the NFC. Guys, this is not a year-to-year league. The Vikings thought they were going to be competitive. They got to 500. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets thought they were going to contend for a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. Not saying Jared Goff, knock on wood, will tear his Achilles, but you never know with injuries.
You never know.
Every year is different. Guess what? There'll be a new team worse the first next year. This happens all the time in the NFL. There'll be another team that is atop of the NFC that rises. There'll be another team that sustains injuries. Maybe you sustain injuries. The Lions have gotten pretty lucky with their health for the most part. I mean, you've kept some of your key foundational pieces. I know CJ's hurt, but it is what it is. They've won games without guys. It is what it is. But there is a concern level like, damn, you have a window right now. And you look at the AFC, the Chiefs just lost to the Broncos. And the Chiefs, for a while there, look unbeatable. But it's fine to still sit there and be like, damn, they had an opportunity this year to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they can still go out, win a playoff game, and go farther. But just for the people that are like, well, Jeff, you can't mortgage your entire future. Guys, I didn't know a third-round pick that you'll get back is your future.
No.
I mean, Brad Holmes has drafted guys all throughout the entirety of the draft. Did I ever once say trade away multiple first-round picks? I've never said that once.
No.
But again, maybe Brad Holmes wasn't on these conversations and he didn't get it done. Sure. I'm not going to say, everything is screwed now for the future, and I do not believe in Brad. I'm not saying that. But damn, Sam, if you talk about what this team needed, it goes defensive line, secondary, and you could swap those. You could say secondary first, maybe help at corner, and then defensive line. But the fact that they didn't even go out and get anybody is a little disappointing, considering that all three teams that are in the race with you went and got defensive line help or secondary help.
Sure.
And you're sitting there with the worst secondary of all the teams in the worst defensive line, arguably, between the Philadelphia Eagles and, of course, San Francisco 49ers, and you stood pat. It is a little confusing, but it is what it is. Here we are.
This is a multi-layered conversation because many things can be true, and I want to give Brad Holmes his flowers. Thank you, Lucas. I didn't catch that. That's all right. Thank you, Lucas, for that. So, what Brad Holmes walked into, I think we will all agree, was a mess. His first year, they were 3-13-1, Holmes and Campbell. The next year, they were 9-8, and this year, they look like they are going to run away with the division. That is a team-building masterclass. I think we can all agree with that. But at the same time, expectations do change, because when you look at the Detroit Lions, even though they didn't make moves, besides Donovan Peoples-Jones at the trade deadline, they can still get the number 1 seed, and it is 100,000% because of their scheduling. I mean, you look at who they have the rest of the year compared to even the 49ers or the Eagles' next 6 games. Even if you want to look at the Cowboys and the Seahawks, it is 100% night and day. And I think another thing can be true as well, and I wanna get this out there just so people understand. The story of this season is still being written. What will come of the 49ers moves, what will come of the Eagles moves, what will come of the Seahawks moves, what will come of what the Lions did, it's still to be written. The Lions could still accomplish everything that they absolutely want. But I am still a little bit disappointed that they didn't, I would say, make that move. I mean, even the Chicago Bears went after Montez Sweat.
And of course, and they have cap space. Guys, I want to get this straight, right?
Yeah.
You're not. It's not even about. Well, are you going to pay Chase Young? Are you going to pay Montez Sweat? Listen, it's not really even about that, because even if they are a rental, like you just mentioned earlier, the San Francisco 49ers will get a third-round compensatory pick back. So it is what it is. My problem is, or not my problem, but at least what I took from this and took from yesterday is, Brad doesn't feel like they're one player away.
And I would disagree.
I respect. And if he doesn't feel like they're one player away from doing, making noise in the NFC, then that's fine. Maybe he feels like this team is overachieving, and next year will be the year you go all in. Maybe that's his timeline, and that's fine. But I just think their chances right now, you have Ben Johnson still, you have Aaron Glenn still. Who knows if those guys will be here next year? You have everything going for you right now. Man, it would have been nice just to grab one of those guys, man. And not saying you're one player away, but you never know.
Sure.
You never know what one player how they could impact your team, especially defensively, where we've seen this defense have games where they don't look like this defense typically does. Seattle, the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
Sure.
Like, again, are they going to be fine for the foreseeable future? Yes. But I'm just asking questions.
Well, yeah, and I guess the other angle that I want to go to as well is that when you hear this at first, I think it's going to hit a little bit hard, but just bear with me. I would say that Brad Holmes' drafting has been overall excellent, but it's almost gained this like Paul Bunyan level of mythology. And that's just not 100% true, because no matter how great of a GM that you are going to miss on some third-round picks. You are going to miss on some second-round picks. The reason that I bring those up is because that's what it took to get Chase Young and Montez Sweat, respectively, for the 49ers and the Bears, even though the 49ers was compensatory. When you talk about third-round picks that Brad Holmes has made, for every Aleem McNeil, there is a Broderick Martin. For every Kirby Joseph, there is an Iffy Melifonwu. That's just facts. Even when you look at second-round picks, for every Brian Branch, there is a Levi Onwuzurike. For every Sam Laporta, there is a Josh Paschal, who is I would say his cement is still wet, but he can't stay healthy. So this idea that Brad Holmes is just plucking Hall of Famers left and right, second and third round picks, he's made some great picks, especially in the second round last year. Sam Laporta and Brian Branch, beautiful. I can't say anything wrong about that. But this idea that you can't give one of them away for a sure thing like Montez Sweat or Chase Young, I think that's a little bit short-sighted. I'm not angry. I'm not saying that this is like cancel the season or anything like that. I just think the window and the path is so paved, and it's because they have the schedule lined up to get the number one seed. Also because teams like the 49ers and the Seahawks, they will eat each other because only one of them can win the division. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Have you seen how tough their schedule is? And they have to play the Cowboys twice. They play the Bills. They still play the Chiefs, who the Lions have already beaten, by the way. Congratulations to the Lions. It's just, I don't like the people who say that this isn't the year to go for it. I'm not saying that they can't build sustained success. I'm just saying that it is way more wide open than you can ever even imagine. Because I'll tell you what, the Eagles in their next 6 games, the best they can hope for is 4-2. And when I look at the Lions' schedule, I mean, yeah, at the Chargers is going to be tough, but then you got the Bears and the Packers at home. Those look like wins. At New Orleans, that could be tough, but the Saints aren't as good as we thought they were going to be. At the Bears, home versus Denver. At Minnesota that just lost Kirk Cousins for the season. Do you remember when we looked at the Philadelphia Eagles' next 6 games versus the Detroit Lions' next 6 games? Mm-hmm. It could work out that at best, the Lions could go 6-0, and for the Eagles, at absolute best, I would say 4-2. That puts you above the Eagles in the standings, and the Lions are already above the 49ers in the standings. So it is wide open. I hope it doesn't hurt them, but if it does, I'm going to ask some questions. That's all.
Is it unfair for me to be concerned about a defensive line that you have one guy in the top 25 for pressures?
Sure.
It's just Aiden.
And he's like right up there.
He's
by the way.
only guy in the top 25 for pressures for the Lions. Like, guys, and by the way, the Lions have gotten away with blitzing a Tracy Walker, blitzing an Alex Anzalone, blitzing a Derek Barnes, and that's fine. But ideally, you'd like to just drop, everybody into coverage and just send 4, which they can't do that, obviously, because, again, like I said, Aiden Hutchinson's the only one in the top 25 with in pressures, and he's actually top 5. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm asking. Like, people, that's what's frustrating to me, too, is with Brad Holmes, he has done a fantastic job. Like, I got to keep saying that because if I don't, people assume I'm hating. So I have to keep saying that. He's done a great job. And, again, we don't know if he was in on these offers, on these trade offers. I don't know. So I'm not going to act like I do know. I'm not going to act like I know more than Brad Holmes. But I can ask a question. Like, damn. Aiden's the only one in the top 25 in pressures. Like, and you're getting it as a team. Of course, everyone's helping out in different ways. Guys are having career years, but damn. It has to be that Brad didn't think they were one player away, and that's okay. Well, then that's fine. If that's the takeaway, then that's okay. I'll accept it. But if Brad felt like this team's a contender and he didn't do anything and just said, you know what, we're fine as it is, I just want to see how it plays out. That's all.
Sure. And when it plays out, it might work out swimmingly for the Lions. But honestly, I think everybody at least on this show will agree with this. Maybe not. If the Lions lose in the playoffs, if they don't even make the Super Bowl or win it, they're going to have to, I would say, make the Super Bowl for me to completely just absolve Brad Holmes of not doing anything.
No, that's not what it is either. All I want is a playoff win. And I'm going to get that still with this team. I do believe that.
I'm saying is that you're always going to wonder what if we would have got after Chase Young. Maybe they did, by the way. If they would have gotten to Chase Young, if they would have gotten to Montez Sweat, maybe that would have been the player to put them over the top. Because I think the Lions maybe are closer than some people. And a lot of it has to do with scheduling. But if you get the number 1 seed and kind of let everyone else eat each other in the NFC, maybe it all plays out. And I think right now it's just imperative that they get the number 1 seed. They still might, but I just worry. I worry about this. I don't even want to look at it necessarily as help for Aiden. I already mentioned with the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, does Nick Bosa need help? I mean, obviously, they got him Chase Young. They have Javon Hargraves. They have Drake Jackson. They have Eric Armstead. And when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, Hassan Reddick, damn good player. They have Josh Sweat. They have Jalen Carter, whose back injury appears to not be as serious as maybe initially thought. They got Jordan Davis. You even look at a guy like TJ Watt. They got Alex Highsmith. You look at Myles Garrett. They got Zadarius Smith in the offseason. It hasn't quite worked out the way that maybe they hoped, but still, it was an attempted help,
And this comment
Yes.
too, Ben says, why is Brad Holmes bulletproof and can never be criticized? He's absolutely dropped the ball in this one. Our DB room is so thin, and our D-line is also one injury away from being dusty. Well, that's a little aggressive. But, again, like I get where he's coming from. And Mike Bell says, Jeff, why are you still complaining? Well, number one, I could talk about whatever I want to talk about. It's our show. So it's called it complaining. It's me simply having a conversation. I mean, that's all we're doing. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like, people would expect, just shut up and accept it. No. Like, I'm going to accept it, but I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to be like, I wonder why the only acquisition was wide receiver when I could argue you're better off with your pass catchers now than you are defensively. That's a fair question.
Well,
people will take that and go, well, you don't know. You're just complaining. Okay, call it whatever you want. Like I said 1,000 times.
Well,
I still have faith in Brad Holmes. I still have faith in Dan Campbell. I still have faith in what they're doing. All I'm doing is simply asking a question.
Sure. And
why just Donovan Peoples-Jones? Why not someone defensively? Are you more confident in the defense and the offense?
No.
I'm better. I'm cool with the offense. And maybe Brad Holmes is thinking we'll make a strength even stronger, which fine. But this ultimately, my takeaway is this, and it has to be. Like, the Lions aren't where the 49ers are right now, and there aren't where the Eagles are right now.
Right.
The Eagles and the 49ers are at a point where they're all in. All the chips are in the middle. They're all in. They're over the cap. They signed a bunch of guys to max contracts. They feel like their window is closing. So they went out and got these guys. So the Lions must feel like we're not even in that. We're not to that point yet, which fair. But this team is a damn good football team. I thought they were closer than maybe Brad Holmes thought, but that's fine. If he doesn't think they're on that level, then that's okay.
Sure.
Like that's fine. I'll live with that. But people that are like, Jeff, they could take care of the 49ers and the Eagles without any trades. Okay.
That's
like, all right. I don't know about that, which is cool. They can still win a playoff game, which I'll be happy with that. But don't act like no moves. They can still take care of these teams. Like, that's drinking the Kool-Aid. That's drinking the Kool-Aid.
And my one thing on this, just because I've been quiet about this whole thing, because I wanted you guys to get your 2 cents, is it's okay to be a little bit disappointed. It's okay to question things. Like Jeff has said already, the 3 of us still have faith in Brad Holmes. If you say that we don't, then you're just not listening to what you're saying and you want to believe what you want to believe. We all believe in Brad Holmes immensely. After the draft, I was the biggest campaigner in that, okay, I'm fine that we didn't take Jalen Carter and we got 2 picks. Like, there's multiple things that we have all been on record about supporting Brad Holmes in. Because we are disappointed in seeing even the Seahawks get better, the Eagles get better, and the 49ers get better.
Right.
And the Lions, they did improve. I do like the Donovan Peoples-Jones trade. I do like that a lot, especially when you lose Marvin Jones. It helps you stretch the field while J-Mo's trying to get on track. I do like that trade. But it is okay to be disappointed when the NFC is wide open and the Detroit Lions kind of just watch the other teams improve on their needs when they kind of added to their ammunition that they already had. It's okay to be disappointed in that. It's okay to voice some criticism with that. We're not acting, to Jeff's point, we're not acting like we know more than Brad Holmes. But we are simply asking. What we just don't see it when there's very little risk-reward. The risk-reward there to go to be in a Super Bowl contention mode, because this NFC was wide open, man. It still is. It still is. The 49ers, Seahawks, Philadelphia, they could all take on injuries that shape it up. We get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. That's almost going to feel like a trade. I'm not discarding the things that are going to happen to this team that make them better. But that window and the path to get to the Super Bowl, which was very much alive, and it still is for the Lions, that path just got a whole lot harder, and it happens to come from the 3 teams that are all competitive with you for that number 1 seed. The Lions still have a chance to get everything that they need, but it is a lot more essential that they lock up that number 1 seed in the NFC this year, because they're still on the same track that they always have been. But to ignore the fact that they had a true shot to go and get one this year, I think that's where it's just like, really look at where the NFL is at right now and what the Lions could have done, and that's where the disappointment's at. It's not saying, oh, this team is screwed, they have no future. That's not what we're saying. We're allowed to be disappointed in things. A week from now, we're not going to be saying, like, at least for me,
Yeah,
if the
me
Lions
too.
go and lose, I'm not going to be the guy being like, oh, should have traded for Chase Young.
No,
This
I'm not
is
gonna
the
do
team. This is who we have. I love the Detroit Lions. I got called a bandwagon fan on Twitter yesterday, which absolutely blew my mind. I'm going to support this team regardless. But as a fan, you're allowed to question things. You know what I mean? We're not acting like we are the GM. We are acting like fans that are like, what the hell? And I think that's okay to react to.
Yeah, that's all it is. Like, but again, if you say that, Lucas, you're a hater and you don't believe in what he's doing. Like, that's kind of where we've gotten to, which is sad. Like, you can't even have an actual conversation anymore. Like, I can't just sit here and have a conversation. It's either shut up and just accept what's happening, or you're a hater and you lost faith and, you think Brad's trash. Like, there's no middle ground. And that's what's unfortunate in today's society. Like, we can't just have a conversation. Like, even me, I thought I've been very fair today. I've made it very clear multiple times. I believe in Brad. All I'm saying is, damn, out of all the positions you needed, you traded for a wide receiver? It's like, how dare you, Jeff? How dare you? Yeah. Like, okay, you're whining or you're sensitive. Well, okay. I mean, you could call it whatever you want. All I'm saying is, I'm curious.
Well, and for the record, and I know I forgot who said it, I lost it, but someone got on me for saying that it's absurd to say that this season is Super Bowl or bust. That's not exactly what I'm saying. What I'm basically saying
there's an opportunity. There's a Super Bowl window.
Yes.
I understand it's earlier than people expected, especially with this rebuild. I understand that this was not the year that the Lions were expected to go win a Super Bowl. But the fact of the matter is they had a chance to go get one. They still do. I'm not discrediting it at all. You get in the playoffs, you have a chance. But that path, that window for this year, which we are all excited about, the energy is so high because it's like, wow, the Lions really have a winner. When you think you really have a winner, you think you have a really chance to go and win a Super Bowl. The path just got a whole lot more difficult, and that's why people are like, oh, my God. If it was not the 49ers that got Chase Young, I would not be sitting up here this mad right now. And I will de-escalate from being mad, but it's just the common fact of, damn, John Lynch again. Damn, Howie Roseman again. Damn, Seattle again.
Those guys don't play around, man.
It's because the thing is, people are just acting like they're going to stop doing it. Like this, Howie Roseman, John Lynch. John Lynch traded for Trent Williams. He traded for Christian McCaffrey. He traded for Chase Young. He's not going to stop adding pieces. You can say, oh, look at the cap space. He's doing it regardless of what the cap is. Same thing with Howie Roseman. I don't think these guys are going to stop doing these type of moves, which is why I get frustrated as a Lions fan when these things happen, when you're in a position for once to make this move because it's a completely different organization than the same old Lions. If Chase Young gets added to this Lions roster, it's not going to be back when you trade for Haloti Nada. Like, it's not that type of impact that people are making it seem to be, so that's why I get frustrated.
And I want to just address this too, because Truck says, Jeff, this is not a conversation. A conversation is a give and take. You guys are not looking at the whole picture. You sound like more of a drunk in a bar after a Ravens loss. Yeah, I have. I just said why I think maybe he did not make a trade. And didn't I also just say that we don't know if Brad was in on these conversations? Like, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but no, you're still hating. That's how that works. Yeah. Like, okay, Chuck, that's fine. Even though I've said multiple times that there is a possibility that Brad made the phone call. Maybe there is a possibility he wasn't willing to overpay for these guys, which is fine. Is that okay? Like, I made that clear. That's okay. All I'm saying is, man, a wide receiver out all the positions you needed. Sure. Listen, Donovan Peoples-Jones, it was a great trade. You traded a 6th-round pick for it. But
I love that
again,
trade.
This is more of a long-term plan for Brad, and I understand that. I mean, forgive me for wanting to capitalize on an opportunity to get better this year in a wide-open NFC. That's all it is.
Sure.
I mean, forgive me on that, you know? Wide-open NFC, and I want the Lions to be the best team.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. We disagree if you think they're the best team right now. That is not true. The Philadelphia Eagles are better, and I think San Francisco 49ers just got even better. And the Seattle Seahawks, who have consistently beaten you, just got better.
They did.
So forgive me for being a little worried. Forgive me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Many things can be true, and I preface my whole statement by saying this, that Brad Holmes, when it comes to coming into a dumpster fire of an organization, going from a 3-13-1 team to a division winner in 3 years, he could write a book on how to turn a dumpster fire into a division winner. But at the same time, a division at this point is basically all said and done. And like I said, it's right in front of them to basically get the 1 seed if they want. And I think a lot of people who maybe have don't have faith that this is a Super Bowl level team, then maybe some of these fans, and I hate to say it, I would say one of the few criticisms of the Lions this year is that they've kind of merchanted some wins off of bad quarterbacks. You look at Desmond Ridder, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Take out the trash, which they've done, but that's maybe has inflated people's idea of either how good they are or maybe made them think, I don't know if they're as good as the Eagles or the 49ers. Maybe we shouldn't try. I'm just saying, to me, this is a team that could compete for a Super Bowl this year. And I think the fact that it just stings a little bit that the Eagles, 49ers, and Seahawks made moves that will make them better instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah,
that's all.
And the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Seattle Seahawks are thinking, you know what? We need help. I mean, at least for Seattle and for the 49ers, it was, let's get more on the defensive line. And then the Eagles said, you know what? Our secondary stinks. Let's bring in a 2-time All-Pro. Like, I get that. Like, I respect that. Maybe the Lions feel right now they're better off just, staying put, rolling with the roster they have, which we'll see how it ages. That's all I'm saying. Like, and I'm not going to be like Lucas, and I'm not going to be the first one if we lose to the Chargers to come out here and say, man, I told you so. No, I'm not doing that. I want to have a conversation today, talk to the people. Clearly the people disagree with even me having one concern, which, okay, a little aggressive, but it is what it is. Let's go to break.
Be fair to the audience, it's not everybody. There's there's people are being reasonable, but then there's people who are just kind of taking your words out of context. So there is some reason.
Yeah.
There is some reason there.
It's all it is, man. Like, Brad Holmes is still the man. He's still the man. No one's saying he isn't.
Yes.
Not one person today said fire Brad. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Let's go to break, though. When we come back, we'll get more into this conversation, and we'll try and talk people. I thought I was going to talk people off the ledge. I guess we're on the ledge.
I guess we're on the ledge.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at, we're here, Planet Fitness.
Hey.
It's the home of the judgment-free zone, where anybody, and I mean anybody, can feel comfortable, work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky, clean gym. You see it right now. This place is beautiful. And on top of that, you'll get all the benefits for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There's more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, and I got to tell you about our friends over at the Academy. I can't see, but the Academy of Warren. Brand new state-of-the-art sports zone fieldhouse that has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, and soccer field. They can also be used for 7-on-7 football. Listen, guys, they got different features. They got AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, futuristic media center. Even get yourself some free breakfast and lunch as well. They're accepting new enrollment for next year. Go to academywarren.net for more information. And we're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Man, I appreciate you guys joining the show, and at least just tuning in. Whether you hate me right now or not, I'm trying to figure out why. I didn't come at anybody. In this comment, too, which I got to address because I'm having fun today. I got time today. Mike Bell, acting like a diva kills the show, Jeff. I didn't know I was acting like a diva, Sam.
You're not,
I didn't know that.
Jeff. You're good.
You acting like your opinion is so much more educated than the chat. I never said that either. Like, you know what? It's just funny. We are all entitled to our own opinion, but to be sensitive about a chat comment is BS. Number one, I don't care. You guys can comment whatever you like. I'll read the comments, and I'll react to the comments. This is part of the show. You guys are included with us. But the other part of it, man, is just, and this is what's frustrating, and Lucas, we kind of talked about this during the break, is like you just can't have a different opinion, or else you're canceled.
It's not
how that works.
It's not everybody in the chat, but this is just
it's
it's
how it
the
is,
most
man.
20. I feel like I'm having the most
Okay.
2023 sports talk in the world
Yeah.
right now. Like it's like cancel culture on sports.
Like,
It's what it's evolved into.
Because I have a different opinion, I'm a diva.
No, and it's like
I'm more educated in the chat.
we're respecting the other people. Like we're respecting what happened. Like we are okay with what has happened. We are going to move past it. But you're allowed to have feelings towards what happened. Then you express it. That's what sports talk is about. That's what we are talking about right now. So if you don't agree, that's fine. If you want to keep saying that we're just being a bunch of divas, that's fine. But that's not the case. But anyways.
And by the way, this is what I love doing, though. I mean, this is why I love this job, is because we get to have conversations, we get to talk about things. And Sam, the whole thing, and I already said it earlier, but I'll say it again, this tells me that they're planning for the long term. That's what I've said multiple times, and I'm okay with that. I guess in my mind, you look around at the NFC, and I just thought, you know what? They had an opportunity this year. Maybe they'll be better off even without trading for Chase Young. They have a very specific standard of player they look for. They look for fit, they look for financial fit, and they look for the human being. Maybe Chase didn't check any of those boxes. That's fine.
There were reports that came out after that Chase Young would not be the best fit with the Detroit Lions because he was undisciplined as far as when he's on the field trying to make too many splash plays. So that could be a key factor in why Brad did not want him. We're not discrediting that either. He might have not been the perfect fit.
No, and it might work out. Like, I mean, we are 100%.
Yeah, no one said, Sam, that the Lions are screwed.
Yes.
No one said that, but continue.
No, this is all about, I would say, the Lions. Everything that they want, I would say, is right in front of them, and they can still achieve everything. Yep. But it's objectively true that the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Eagles got better on paper. I would say that the 49ers made what they do great, like just an embarrassment of riches. What the Eagles were deficient at in the secondary, they made better, and what the Seahawks defense was slightly deficient at, although Boye Mafe and Jaron Reed were having good seasons, they made better with Leonard Williams. And here's the thing. James Houston might be coming back for the Detroit Lions. I don't know when he's going to come back.
I think December, they said.
Sure, and that will be a hell of an addition. Maybe he can pick up somewhat where he left off from last year. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, when he was initially feared out for the season, it looks like he might be able to come back later on and maybe for the playoffs. That is all well and good, and those might be as good as free agency signings. It's just we're all just spitballing a little bit. The Lions can achieve everything they want. They are still one of the best teams in the NFC.
And I will say this, the NFC North is yours for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future.
Like they have the North locked up. That's not even what I'm talking. I'm talking about the NFC, man.
Yes.
And maybe the next year and the year after and the year after, they'll contend. But, man, I hope there's no what's going on?
There's an enemy behind Sam Flannel.
Squat
down. Squat down.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Mr. Draft Capital himself.
Come defend. This is a perfect segment to have the Come on, Neil. Neil, come on.
Oh, no.
Here he comes.
Neil Rule? Good morning to you. You won't even turn your back on you, huh? Wow.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny.
Neil Rule?
Neil Rule. Mr. Draft Capital. Neil, how do you feel about yesterday? You feel good?
Yep.
There you go.
No, that's fair. You got to save it for the show.
Yeah,
like, for real.
And by the way, all right, put it at work, Neil.
Yeah.
Guy's different. He's built different. All right. Man, Neil's presence just kind of shakes you up a little bit, doesn't he? I just forgot my train of thought.
For you, maybe.
It's like seeing like he's not real. Neil's
like
a superhero.
Ghost. He's a ghost.
Yeah,
he's a salary cap
ghost.
Financial ghost.
Yeah, he really is.
Yep.
I'm gonna get to some of these comments and then we'll move on here because I do want to share what the people are saying, okay, and try and get a more balanced show here with the people. Let's see. I want to make sure because I don't want to just read. I want to read just the biased ones. Let's see. Chris says Young may have wanted a bag for next year, and who says he stays with the Lions next year? And Lions waste a third-round pick for a 9-week guy, and that's fair. I also saw the 49ers might get that third-round pick back, so it's not. I don't know if they'll get it wasted, but regardless. Joe Westfall says the 49ers are an embarrassment of riches that never wins the Super Bowl.
No, what? I have been the lead champion of that because if they don't cash one in with Kyle Shanahan, it will be a 100% colossal failure. But they made moves and they've acquired pieces through the draft and through free agency that will greatly improve their chances of winning said Super Bowl this year.
And this comment too, Motown Mitch, Neil, the only one at Woodward, the only Woodward host with a brain cell. Okay,
all right.
Well, we know how Mitch feels. He doesn't like disagreeing. That's fair. Let's see. For this one, Benji says, didn't know you could bring guns into the gym. Damn, Neil. Neil, he is built like that.
Look at him now. He's on the prowl. How many miles do you think he does on that treadmill?
He is on the prowl. Ben Bauer says, we were winning the NFC North before and after the trade deadline, but we needed to make a move so we can go further than that. Pat Surtain is a must-get. And some of those things aren't. Like, the Denver Broncos didn't even trade anybody. So some of those guys weren't realistic. That's why I'm not trying to harp too much on Brad because, again, we don't know behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And I want to read this comment by Tricia because I thought it was kind of relevant to what we were talking about here. And I forget exactly what she said, but it was essentially we were saying the Lions are screwed, which, did we say that once this show?
No, we didn't.
Okay, just making sure. I was like, who said that? Who said the Lions are screwed? I actually think their future's still bright.
No, their future is
Yeah, they're going to win the
bright.
NFC North. They're going to contend in the NFC. I just think now with what happened yesterday, this is my only opinion, the 49ers, Eagles, and Seahawks just a little bit, they just kind of distance themselves a little bit. That's all it is.
Yeah, you never want after the trade deadline, and I think this is something that we can all break bread on, and I think maybe you guys disagree with my assessment. I think it's a little bit of a disappointment that after the trade deadline, we can say the Lions are definitively not as talented, I would say, as the Eagles, 49ers, and even the Seahawks, who have the Lions' number anyway. Yeah. That's a little bit disappointing. I'm not saying that the Lions aren't talented and that they won't win the division by probably 3 or 4 games. It's just when you have that kind of division dominance, when you have the opportunity to get a 1 seed, when you get a 1 seed or even a 2 seed, you start thinking Super Bowl, not just winning a playoff game. And I'm not saying winning a playoff game isn't a successful season. I'm just saying things change.
Danny Bennett, shout out to you, my man. He says the 49ers got better for sure, but they also got problems on offense that weren't addressed. They're on a 3-game losing streak.
That's fair.
And they have the 6th most difficult schedule remaining, which is true. Same with the Eagles. So maybe Brad looks at the schedules and says, hey, those guys got a tough road ahead of them. We have one of the easier schedules. We could still win at the NFC with the current roster we have. And if they do that, so be it. It is what it is. Mike Bell, Jeff, I've been a long-time supporter but today taking things personal because I have a difference in opinion is total BS. I didn't take anything personal at all. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. I actually haven't taken anything personal. I've expressed my opinion. I felt like some people in the chat took it personal. That's how I feel. I'm cool. You guys can disagree. Like, I'm cool with that. I like this. I don't want nobody to feel like they have to agree just to agree. Like,
sure.
If you disagree, please share. Like, I have no problem with that. And it is. If you look at the schedule, too, the Eagles, man, their next, 6 games are insanely difficult. Like, the next 5, they have, a combined record of 31-13 or something like that. And then the 49ers are kind of on a losing skid. But does that mean the 49ers are bad? No. No, they're not. All right. Let's go to break here. When we come back, I do want to bring up this question because it was asked yesterday. I forgot what show, but I want to bring it up on our show. Could the 2023 draft class be the best draft class for the Detroit Lions? Because I think it has a chance to be.
All right.
After seeing what happened Monday, with seeing Sam Laporta, with seeing Brian Branch, Jack Campbell now making some noise. I want to talk about that draft class compared to other draft class as well, and then we'll get into Top 10 Tuesday at 9 o'clock, or excuse me, a little after 9 o'clock. Because it is Top 10 Tuesday, me and Sam go through our Top 10 teams, and then we'll have that discussion as well. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Swiss Insurance.
Of course. Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year has been awesome. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
By now you know me, Christina Schnurry, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Well, I'll tell you about our friends over at Glorious. Glorious Cannabis. After a victory on Monday, listen, you're going to be wanting smoking that Glorious Cannabis. They smoked that Raiders pack on Monday, which, you know what?
Hey.
You can do what you want with that. Glorious Cannabis, you go over to Dispo, ask them about Glorious Cannabis. I believe you can get a discount on the Glorious Cannabis itself. You mentioned the word Woodward as well. Shout out to our friends over at Glorious Cannabis. Let's just read some of these comments too, man. And by the way, like, I still love you guys. Like, I'm not this whole show. What my plan was to come in here and have a conversation about what happened yesterday, and it just, shouldn't even have done that. So it is what it is. Let's get into what the conversation I wanted to get to was.
Yeah.
Is the 2023 NFL draft class the best draft class of Brad Holmes so far? Because, listen, despite what people think, we're very high on Brad Holmes.
We are.
And we think this man is a draft wizard. So, therefore, could the 2023 draft class be his best class? But his first draft class when he got here, though, I mean, and Neil mentioned this yesterday, I thought it was a good point. I mean, you got 2 potential Hall of Famers.
Sure.
So, like, that's hard to beat. But you look at this draft class alone. I mean, you got Sam Laporta, who's already one of the best tight ends in the league. Brian Branch, who's going to be one of the better safeties in a couple of years, if not in a very short period of time. And you got Jahmyr Gibbs, who finally is now turning into what people, really expected with a heavy workload offensively. Could it be Sam?
Ooh, so it could. Because the 2021 draft class, I would say, is aging better and better by the day, especially with the emergence of Aleem McNeil. And when it comes to 2023, a lot of the early returns are positive, but it hasn't gotten quite the chance to age. But with 2021 so far, I mean, you got Penei Sewell, one of the best tackles in the NFL. I think his ceiling for this season is probably second-team All-Pro. He'll definitely be a Pro Bowler. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, which, off the top of my head, I would say is the greatest draft pick in Detroit Lions history. You got a top 10 wide receiver, maybe an emerging top 5 wide receiver in the 4th round. And then you have Aleem McNeil, who has 100% emerged as a Pro Bowl caliber defensive tackle, which is fair. And you saw the game that he had last week in which he had 2 sacks, which gives him now 4 on the season, and he ranks right up there in terms of PFF, in terms of defensive tackles, all defensive tackles in the NFL. And then even Derek Barnes, he's a starting linebacker in this league. I'm not saying he's anything special. His play has tapered off a bit, but still, Derek Barnes has been an okay pick. 2022 is the one that I actually think might be aging worse. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, great pick. Jamison Williams, I would say right now, has not been a great pick. As of right now, a lot of people don't like when I say this, but his production so far has not been, I would say, optimal. Josh Paschal can't stay healthy. Kirby Joseph, he made a play last week, but I would say his play has dipped a little bit. And then you look at James Houston, he was hurt. And Malcolm Rodriguez, I hate to say this, but right now Malcolm Rodriguez stinks.
Oh,
he's not
my
good.
God.
He's not good.
No,
he's a sixth-round pick. For a sixth-round pick, he's fine.
Stink. That's
what I'm saying. For a 6th-round pick, he's literally was lined up at fullback again last week. On special teams, he's a great player. And on defense, I have more confidence in than him and than any other backup linebacker around the league to come in and produce when he needs to.
All I'm saying is people last year, I mean, it's fair because it was true. We got a starting linebacker in the 6th round, Brad Holmes.
But to say he stinks is ridiculous.
For that Detroit Lions roster of last year, yes, that's a starting linebacker for them last year. This year, no. They drafted Jack Campbell. That's going to bump Malcolm down. And when Derek Barnes is playing better than he has the whole time in his career.
Just look at it from this, though. You got a guy in the 6th round that can play all 3 phases of the game. Special teams, he played fullback, and he's playing linebacker.
Okay, fine, but Malcolm Rodriguez is not a starting linebacker in this league. Maybe saying he stinks is bad, but I mean it was maybe a little bit over the line. But Malcolm Rodriguez isn't looking like this all-time fleecing anymore like maybe it did last year. But when you look at 2023, I would say Sam Laporta right now is still on track to have a historic season for a rookie tight end. Shout out Lucas Klotz for that one. You look at Brian Branch, who is already one of the better up-and-coming defensive backs in the NFL. Like he and I got to give credit to Brian Branch. He bounced back very well against the Raiders after himself having a subpar game against the Ravens after missing a couple of games with injury. He's still been very, very good. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs, who I said yesterday has the talent, and I can say it with 100% certainty that I believe he can now be the best running back in the NFL someday. And that's what you draft someone at number 12 to do. Jack Campbell, I think he's one that you could maybe see age well or poorly.
I think Jack Campbell's going to be a perfect guy that you see keeps getting better regardless of the season that he's in. I think Jack Campbell is one of those guys that he's going to be a great linebacker come year 3, year 4. I think there's going to be a little bit of rust around the edges right now, but give that man 2 or 3 more years. That number 18 overall pick is going to be much worth it.
Yeah, and you never know though. But I would say Jack Campbell, his early returns have been mixed, but I would suspect that he turns out to be a good player. But I guess the big question is Broderick Martin. You finally saw him on the field.
That to me is like the X factor.
Yeah.
If Broderick Martin turns out to be a starting level defensive tackle, that can make an impact.
Yeah,
like he doesn't have to be like Quentin Williams, but if he's just solid, and we don't even know what Hendon Hooker is. Because
we don't.
And you really won't. And the plan is to probably never see what he is because Jared Goff's going to be your starter, and they're probably going to re-sign him. But man, if Broderick Martin turns out to be a damn good player, this 2023 draft class, man, you got studs.
Yeah.
And although Malcolm Rodriguez, to your point, he's not going to be. I don't think he'll be a superstar, but man, he's a damn good fit for what they're looking for. He could just play. I mean, Sam, he was playing fullback. He's playing fullback. He's playing. He could. If you have injuries to your linebacking core, he could start at linebacker, and he's playing special teams. For a 6th-round pick, what is he making? 800, 900,000? And he's playing 3 phases.
I know, but that's what Malcolm Rodriguez is now. Good for a 6th-rounder. Last year he was just actual rookie good, and now that
what's rookie good?
Rookie good means make the all-rookie team, which is what Malcolm Rodriguez did.
No, so what happened? What happened since his rookie year? He was solid his rookie year, and now he's just
Jack
Malcolm
Campbell's
Rodriguez.
better, Alex Anzalone's better, and Derek Barnes is better.
Of course, they're more talented.
Right.
But if you had an injury to your linebacking core and you had Malcolm Rodriguez out there, I'd be fine with that.
I mean, yeah, I would be fine with it if there was injuries to the linebacking core. But when you look at here, I'm gonna read it right now, and a lot of you aren't gonna like this, but I just have to bring this up. Malcolm Rodriguez now has 7. I count them 7 tackles on the season. 7 fewer than C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I'm just saying.
But I get what you're
just
saying. I get that, Flannel, but he's naturally, with them drafting a linebacker, an on-ball linebacker like Jack Campbell, that's exactly what Malcolm Rodriguez is. They're going to put that 1st-round pick on the field more, not to mention they're getting Jack Campbell off the edge, too, so they're finding that Jack is actually more versatile than Malcolm, which you would expect out of a first-round pick compared to a 6th. And Derek Barnes, the 4th-round pick, who is more talented than Malcolm Rodriguez, is playing the best of his career, and they got to get their money's worth out of him eventually. Malcolm Rodriguez is a perfect 6th-round pick for any team. Like, any team would kill to have Malcolm Rodriguez in the 6th round.
Can I re-give the context of why I said what I said about Malcolm Rodriguez?
Yes, because it's kind of like the Jameer thing with David. Like he just
it would like be
there.
getting mad at Khalif Raymond for them drafting a wide receiver and then his numbers going down.
Here's what the context was. I am saying that the 2022 draft class is aging poorer than the 2021. I think the Malcolm Rodriguez pick is aging poorer than maybe it did last year. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I shouldn't have said he stinks. That was a little bit out of line. I'll admit it. Maybe that was a little bit out of pocket. But Malcolm Rodriguez does not look like this massive fleecing like he did last year. He just looks like a regular 6th-round pick.
He doesn't need to be, though.
He's a 6th-round draft pick.
That's fine.
It's not a fleece.
But that's what I'm saying.
You do understand, like, James Houston's don't come around all the time in the 6th round.
But last year, Malcolm Rodriguez was a fleecing. He was.
Because he had the opportunity on the field to present so. If Malcolm Rodriguez was on the field for the amount of snaps that he was last year, he would look like another season of a 6th-round pick value. Malcolm Rodriguez, if he played the exact same snaps, would probably be damn near close to 80 tackles again.
Did this man
You
regress?
will take that every day of the week.
Maybe he did. He has 7 tackles.
Well,
7.
You have more.
He can't get on the field at all.
Well, you have Jack Campbell now. You have Jack Campbell now.
I know that.
So you drafted a guy in the 1st round. He's playing more. Like, it doesn't mean Malcolm Rodriguez just lost what he had last year. I mean, it's a little aggressive. That's how it works. And some people, Williams says, Sam, you don't know football.
Of course
Malcolm
I don't.
Rodriguez is a good player.
And Booner, he is a great backup linebacker. There is nothing great about Malcolm Rodriguez. I'm sorry. He's
the
fine.
value that he was drafted at to his performance is great. That is like, this is going back to why we love Brad Holmes, regardless of what happened at the trade deadline. Brad Holmes is still finding guys that can bring value in the 6th round consistently. Yeah, and I'm more than overjoyed with that.
Picture.
All right. Fine. All right, Malcolm Rodriguez is fantastic.
No, for a 6th round pick, he is. Yes, for a 6th round pick,
dude, he is.
I mean, I can give credit to every single other player, but once I trash Spenny's best friend and our Lord and Savior Malcolm Rodriguez.
Flannel, that's not what's happening.
Yeah,
it's the fact that you're trying to diminish Malcolm Rodriguez and his value with this team. But the fact is, they drafted a linebacker in the first round. They're going to go with that guy. That's what any NFL GM would do.
Has the Malcolm Rodriguez pick aged poorer than, like, say, other picks?
I think it serves its value. I think he overachieved last season, and now when he's on the field, especially on special teams, he is making an impact.
Yeah, just because the guy's not playing this year doesn't mean he
it's either on special teams. It's either been Jalen Reed's maybe making a tackle or Malcolm Rodriguez making a tackle.
The team just got better.
Let me just say this, and this is where, and I'm gonna stop talking after this to the love of a lot of people. Has the Aleem McNeil and Derek Barnes picks aged better than the Malcolm Rodriguez one so far? That's why the 2021 one is Brad Holmes' best class so far. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. But where was those guys drafted? Right?
Okay, but not third and fourth, not like first rounders or anything. That's all I'm saying.
Wasn't Malcolm late sixth?
I don't remember the exact position.
If I'm not mistaken. But regardless, I mean, we're arguing inches. I mean, like Malcolm Rodriguez for a 6th-round draft pick is solid, but yes, Derek Barnes has been actually way better than I even thought coming out of the draft.
That's all I'm saying.
Thought he was going to be a solid rotational piece. He's actually been really good this year, Derek Barnes. So again, that's another. That was something that people were bringing up about Brad Holmes. Like, did he miss on Derek Barnes? No.
Starting over Malcolm Rodriguez,
and that's not a bad thing.
Just saying.
What do you expect?
No, I don't even know. Yeah, that's the thing, Sam. It's like I'm with you till you pump up a player and take a shot at another player. You could just pump up Derek Barnes.
Yep. I'm only going to say positive things about Lions players from now on. That's it. That's it, guys.
That's not what we're saying.
Oh man, bro.
It's just kind of like Malcolm exceeded expectations. You're going to hold him to that standard, even though there's going to be less snaps on the field for him. It's just not. I don't see the logic in it.
Look at this, Danny Bennett. Jeff Rodrigo has been on the field for 58 snaps this season. 7 tackles and 58 snaps is pretty decent. I mean, he's kind of spitting there. Oh, my God. Come on, Sam. Listen, all I'm saying is I get what you're saying, but, then to, proceed to throw a shot at Malcolm, it just you didn't need to there, That's all I'm saying. Okay, my co-host he's done. All right, let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll get into the top 10 Tuesday. We'll preview our top 10 teams. We'll see what the Lions rank, where I have it, where Sam has it, and Lucas will we'll talk more about where they should be ranked, because I do think the Lions, even after beating, I know they're the Raiders, Lions are still one of the best teams in the NFL. It is what it is. All right, but first we got to hear about our friends from Guardian Alarm.
All right, unzip my lips. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Stay out of the chat, vitriolic carnage. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests, for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
This is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer, Academy Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Co., official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X plows, and salters. Outdoor Equip Co. has it all. Buy it, rent it at 0% financing, delivery to your doorstep. Visit their website at outdoorequipco.com.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show, and you know what time it is. What?
I was just looking at Neil. Neil's still running.
What?
I was looking at Neil. Behind you.
Gotcha.
I was just observing.
Yeah,
I think he's watching the show when he's running.
He's putting in that work
I think he's watching the show while he runs.
Is he really?
He's gathering ammo. I see YouTube's open.
Oh, Neil's doing it.
I think he's gathering ammo for 10 to or 11 to 1.
All right, Neil's watching film. I love that. All right, let's get to Top 10 Tuesday. We'll get to Sam's list first so he can break it down for the people, then we'll get to mine. All right, we'll start off. Sam, what do you got?
All right, my number 10 on my list is the Cincinnati Bengals making their debut. After that impressive win at the San Francisco 49ers, they're now 4-3. Joe Burrow played the best game that he's played all season, and you also have to give credit to that Cincinnati Bengals defense, which held the San Francisco 49ers to 17 a week after holding the Seattle Seahawks to 13. So the Cincinnati Bengals, I expect them to be right back in the race and be contenders again. At number 9, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, I like their defense. I love Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, all that, James Cook, but they have suffered some major injuries, and you just can't lose some of the games that they've lost so far. That's why they can't be higher. You can't lose that game to the Jets. You can't lose that game to the Patriots. So right now they have to be stuck at number 9. At number 8, I have the San Francisco 49ers, another team. A great defense. Their offense has looked good for the most part, but once they had some injuries to Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams, they certainly haven't looked the same. Brock Purdy in his last 3 games has thrown 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That is certainly not good enough, and just like the Bills, the 49ers, you can't go on a 3-game losing streak and not to have that hurt you in my rankings. At number 7, a lot of people are really not going to like this one. I have the Detroit Lions at number 7. Despite having a lot of impressive wins, they're 6-2. Their run defense has still been very, very good. Their defense, offense, all of that is fine. I would say with the Lions, they have been fortunate to play a lot of bad quarterbacks, and let's just see how it plays out. If they go into Los Angeles and beat the Chargers, I will most certainly have them a lot higher than I have them now. That will be very impressive. At number 6, I have the Seattle Seahawks, who just made a move for Leonard Williams. I mean, when it comes to the Seahawks, Geno Smith has, I would say, regressed a little bit, but he's been fine. I like Kenneth Walker. I like DK Metcalf. They got themselves a nice quarterback, running back, receiver trio. They had a win over the Lions. That's kind of the tiebreaker. They had that win against the Browns, which isn't as impressive, not having to face Deshaun Watson, but still, I like what they added. I like their defense. I like their secondary and their linebackers, and they improved at the defensive line. At number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who absolutely made a statement by decapitating the Los Angeles Rams. Dak Prescott played his best game of the season, and as much as you want to crap on Dak Prescott, the Cowboys are going to need him to play well if they're going to do anything. CeeDee Lamb had arguably his best game of the year. Micah Parsons was dominant, and how about Deron Bland? He's becoming that new turnover creator.
How the hell what? Dallas? Top 5?
They just beat the Rams 43-20.
Ooh.
That's fine. That's fine. And at number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins.
Send Josh Dobbs after their ass.
Hey, at number 4, hey, that's fair. At number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, I would have them higher. Their offense is still just high-powered and loaded. Their running game, they had kind of their first subpar rushing performance of the year, but still, the one thing that kind of, I would say, prevents them from being higher on this list is when they did have to go on the road to hostile environments like Philadelphia and the Buffalo Bills. They just don't look the same. They are the perfect example of a team that needs home field. If they get home field, they could go to the Super Bowl. If they get the wild card, they're gone in the first round. I think that is their deficiency. At number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens, a team that the Lions are very intimately familiar with. And now the Ravens have now taken over the lead. They're the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Lamar Jackson, he didn't have his best statistical game, but he is still having, I would say, a borderline MVP season. I'd say he's in the top 5. And how about Gus Edwards? Gus Edwards played a hell of a game, and we shall see. The Ravens look like this might be the team that actually does something in the playoffs. At number 2, I still have the Kansas City Chiefs. I know a lot of you aren't going to like it. They did suffer a terrible loss to the Broncos. They suffered a terrible loss to the Broncos.
That is bad.
They are still the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL. They had a road divisional stinker, and it happens. But they're still 6-2. It's still Patrick Mahomes coming off the worst game of his life. And I'll tell you what, if they lose to Miami, I will put them down on the list. But for now, they are still 6-2. They are still, I believe, the number 1 seed in the AFC.
When the Lions got whooped by the Ravens, they got bumped down like 6 spots.
Okay, fine.
And then the Chiefs get whooped, and they're bumped down 1 spot.
They got cooked by Russ.
They got beat by Russell Wilson. The Lions got beat by the Ravens.
Javonte Williams had 90-plus rushing yards on him.
Russell Wilson, who has 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's all I'm saying. And
what is that? Ow! Lamar Jackson. Oh my God. So who's better, Ravens or the Broncos?
The Ravens. All right, fine. And at number 1, I have the Eagles. I don't need to explain that. There's
the Eagles. I actually agree with you, Sam. The Eagles are the best team. Okay, throw mine up, and we'll get through mine pretty quickly, and then we'll go to break here. And I'll let the people react to that. Listen, I gotta get the Jags up here. You don't have the Jags, which I'm offended.
Oh shit! You know what? I will get on the stand. That was my bad. That was my bad.
Allow me to defend my Jags, second team for the Lions, of course, because Jags I picked to go to the AFC Championship game. All right, let's talk about it for a second. All right, number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles, pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to get too much into detail with that. You guys know how that goes. Number 2, Miami Dolphins, as they should be the number 2 team in the NFL. Listen, there's no excuse there. You see what Miami's doing. They've lost to 2 good teams. So I got to give them a little bit of credit for that. Number 2. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Even though they had a close one against the Cardinals, and I actually thought about putting them lower down because that win, it is what it is. I mean, you beat Josh Dobbs and the Cardinals by 1 score. I mean, I had to think about that one, but still, Ravens are a good football team. I'll keep them top 3. Lions are number 4. To me, they're a top 4 team. It's not even for the Raiders win, but it's how they've lost. They've beaten the Chiefs. I know it was without. I don't give a shit who it was with or without. They still beat the Chiefs. And the 2 losses to the Seahawks and the Ravens, who are in my top 10. So Lions get credit for that. They're top 5. They're number 4 for me. Number 5, the Kansas City Chiefs, where they should be ranked. All right, they're not right now as it stands. They're not better than the Lions. They're not better than the Ravens. They're not better than the Dolphins. They're not better than the Eagles. As it stands, especially coming off a loss to the Broncos, who were selling the entire farm before beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 6, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good football team, man, and I'm glad things are turning around. I was a little worried there early on in the year. Thought the Jags were going to stink, and then they turned things around. They've been winning a ton of games as of late. I like the Jags. Number 7, the Seattle Seahawks. They got better. I didn't rank these teams based on the trade deadline. I did this before the trade deadline, so all this is just how they've been playing and what they've done so far this season. So the Seahawks are 7th. 8, the 49ers. Yep, 3 losses in a row. That'll drop you down. That just will. The 49ers, and they went out and got Chase Young. Something tells me they just need more help. They're grasping at straws right now, the 49ers, and we'll see. I still think they're a good football team, but they're in a little bit of a panic mode right now. It is what it is. All right, number 9, the Buffalo Bills. They make an appearance back in the top 10. I like Buffalo. They got problems. I mean, they should have blew out the Buccaneers. They didn't. So, it is what it is. And then number 10, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Like you, Sam, they make an appearance. They're a damn good team. They were 0-3, I believe. Now they're 4-3. So they're turning things around. Mike Bell says, are you taking into consideration that the 49ers lost 2 straight? I am, because they were top 3, top 4 last week. Now they're all the way down to 8. Do I believe that the San Francisco 49ers, I don't want to take them completely off my top 10 over 3 losses. It's bad, but they still have a winning record. I have the Bengals in this list, but they're 4-3. So it's not all about record. It's about what I think of the team itself. So that's my top 10 list. It is what it is. The Lions, though, they're a top 4 team to me, Sam. I know you had them. Where'd you have them? 6, 7?
I had them 7.
7. Okay, we'll have that conversation when we come back from break. And Lucas, you could chime in and tell me what you disagree with. And I'll tell Sam why I think the Cowboys are not a top 10 team, because you do not see them in my top 10. I do not think the Cowboys would be any of these teams in my top 10. And we'll talk about that when we come back from break. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Dispo.
Dispo, of course. Experience Dispo Romeo, a team that curates an exclusive atmosphere, mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. The first ever cannabis mall of its kind is conveniently located off of Van Dyke and 32 Mile Road in Romeo. Dispo Romeo is now open late night until midnight every day except Sunday. Can it get any better than that? Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Massaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Let me tell you about our friends over at
Fairway.
Fairway. Thank you. Sorry, it's hard to hear Lucas, but I got you at Fairway because, guys, Fairway Packing provides the best of the best, and they can help you with whatever you need. I mean, they got, for over 60 years, to be honest, which is a long time, they got the best meat provided to all of Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. You can visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, or you can order online, of course, at fairwaypacking.com. All right, plenty more to get to. We just went through our top 10 list. I want, Lucas, your reaction to our list. Anything you critique, what you liked, what you didn't like, talk to me.
Yeah, so I'll pop it up right now, and you kind of already hinted at Flannel. I do have an issue. Again, I am not a Dallas Cowboys fan by any means, but I would put, as of right now, I would put them in front of the Buffalo Bills, as of right now.
You said you put, sorry.
The Cowboys over the Bills. I would put them in the top 10. That's really, I love the Bengals on there. When I look at it, I think I would put Seattle above Jacksonville as of right now, and I know this is not counting the trade deadline. And then when I look at Flannels, Lions are way too low. I don't see how you could have the Lions behind the Cowboys. I would switch the Cowboys and Lions with Flannels. 49ers are still a little too low for both of my liking on both your guys' lists. I still think they're a top 7 team considering they don't have Trent Williams or Deebo Samuel back yet. And then otherwise than that, I mean, I really don't have that many issues outside of that. I don't think it's really consensus. The only team that I think you could really shock people with is the Bengals, and both you guys have them on there. One team's got to drop out, so I don't hate them. I don't hate them.
And I want to ask Sam, your reasoning for the Chiefs, because we know how you feel about Mahomes, but actually, why'd you put him too? Like, what was your thought process? I mean, that was a bad loss.
Well, I want to say one thing too before I go on with my Chiefs take. I did forget about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would have put them. I would have put them in my top 10. That was just a mistake by me.
Who are you taking off?
Who am I taking off? Probably the Bengals, honestly. I mean, they're at the edge of the top.
I get it.
They had 3. Okay. They start off the season, so you have to climb out of that hole in order to earn a spot on my list.
I just think the Bengals, if they face the Cowboys right now, give me the Bengals.
Well, I love to, and I'm not trying to derail it, how I forgot the Jacksonville Jaguars by mistake, and everyone was just like, oh my God, how could you do that? You didn't put the Cowboys, and it's just like, Cowboys suck anyway. Yeah. They're the same, and I think they're about the same. That's just my opinion, but it's all well and good. With the Kansas City Chiefs, it's just they had a bad loss. I will admit it. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible loss. Patrick Mahomes probably played the worst game of his career.
Oh, he did.
But that doesn't take away the fact that they are 6-2, the fact that their defense is still very, very good. The reason why they gave up so many points to the Broncos was actually because Patrick Mahomes and then McCole Hardman, by muffing that punt, put the Broncos in advantageous situations. I will say that. They completely and utterly, I'd say the Chiefs melted down, but I love their talent. I still love Mahomes. Kelsey is still playing great. In order for them to, I would say, drop lower on the list, they're going to have to lose again, which they might. If they don't have a bounce-back game against Miami, they are going to drop on the list. But as of right now, I still have the Chiefs at 2. I can't put them above the Eagles, but they're at 2.
I don't know, man. The Chiefs, for years now, it's time's flown by. Mahomes, Andy Reid, those guys, and again, they won last year even without Tyreek Hill. I get all of that, but I'm concerned this year, Sam. And they're not as good as the Lions right now.
But I've said it about the Lions, and a lot of people don't like it. They really have merchanted a lot of wins off of bad quarterbacks, and that's okay. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a fraud at all.
The Chiefs couldn't even beat a bad quarterback, and they're one of the worst defenses.
Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than 5 out of the 6 that the Lions have beat besides Mahomes. That's facts. Come on,
we gonna see.
Yeah, but
we gonna see when he comes
into
into Ford
Geno
Field.
Smith, who has done really well for himself the last 2 years, and then lost to Lamar, who's an MVP candidate.
Sure. And those
the Chiefs lost to who?
They lost to the Lions, and then they lost to the Broncos. Hey, when it's all said and done, and
I rest my case.
And I know it's going to sound like copium, I don't think the Broncos will be as bad as people think. I think they're going to be a 7-8 win team. I don't think they're going to be a joke. I think Russell Wilson is going to have good numbers. He is. He already has good numbers.
And
he already has good numbers.
I'm gonna try and save you right now, Sam,
Yes,
because
yes.
I before the season said the Broncos will win 10 games.
Yeah.
I jumped off that ship. You can come with me.
I'm
not saying 10, but they're not going to win even 8.
They
There's
could
no
win
way.
7 or 8.
Do you think they're going to pick up 2W against your boy Justin Herbert?
You got me.
That's
you
a-
got me.
Chuck Brewer says Wilson has better stats than Mahomes this
He
year.
does.
Just
He
saying.
does. He 100% does. I've never denied that. That's why when people just scoff at him like he's this washed scrub, he's not. It's
Or
the
maybe-
defense. The defense is still worse in the league after what they did to the
But
Chiefs.
here's the thing about when you watch that, go check Russell Wilson's stats in the second half.
It's just
He gets the majority of his passing touchdowns in the first half.
It's just there's no chemistry with the offense, and that has a majority to do with obviously the coaching, but when you're on the field, the quarterback is in charge of the game flow. He's the game manager. So that's where Russell Wilson, his stats look great, but when the eye test is where I'm like, I don't see the guy that I saw in Seattle. The numbers could be very similar, but when you watch him run that offense, the offense is not on the same page, and the quarterback is a commander of an offense. That's what your job is. Like, I think Sam Howell, off the eye test, looks better than Russell Wilson this year.
I don't understand.
Hold on, Lucas.
You know
Lucas
what?
is cooking.
He has, man.
Actually, I can't even lie. Sam Howell's been balling.
Balling. I don't know about balling.
If we're going to say Russell Wilson has been balling in his 10th year, Sam Howell's been definitely doing his thing. He's leading the NFC East in passing
yards.
yards.
Let the people answer. Who do you want, Sam Howell or Russell Wilson?
I mean,
right
and
now?
that's all well and good, but are we just going to forget that the Commanders put up 7 at the Giants? 7.
Okay.
Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares. Sam Howell is obviously eons better than Russell Wilson. That's what everybody's going to say because obviously, and Lucas is a very, very smart man, his eyes give 150,000 times more credibility than actual numbers. That's okay.
The people are chiming in.
That's fine.
A lot of Howells. A lot of Sam
Flannel
Howells.
That's all right.
Someone, John Lord says Howell could beat Mahomes.
All right.
I'm not going that far.
Howell, Mr. Sam Howell, man. It is what it is. K Boogie says, nah, Sam, he been balling 300 yards last game, 80%. Could have tutties. I think he meant could have had more tutties. But regardless, K Boogie's onto something though.
Sam
man.
Howell played very well against the Eagles. It wasn't his fault they
up that
lost.
secondary.
He was.
If the Chiefs go out and they take care of the Dolphins, I'm willing to have that discussion with you.
Okay.
But right now, after that loss to the Broncos, man, like they're not a top 5 team right now. Top 4.
You got
want
them
to
at
put
5.
them 5.
All
That's fine.
right. And that's fine. And that's fine. I'm just. I
let's
don't want
see.
people to act like they're like 3-5 or something.
No,
like that.
they're still 6-2. They're still 6-2. They're
6-2.
still 6-2. Freddie fell through and 3 says Neil Sir going strong in the background. Neil Rule.
He is, man. He hasn't stopped.
Guy's a specimen. What is he doing?
I'm trying to see if he's watching YouTube or reading a book. Could you imagine? Neil would so be the
He's
type
probably
of dude
doing
to read a
both.
book.
That's how Neil operates.
That'd
He's
be
reading a book with
psychopath.
one hand, and he's watching something in the other hand, and he's running 7 miles.
I like
Built
running. I don't like reading,
different.
though.
Neil Rule. All right, Big D Energy 11-1. You can check him out. Let's go to break. We get back. We'll get to what's trending with Lucas, and we'll get to mailbag, of course. But first, We got to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's, I believe.
Lady
Yes,
Jane's,
Lady Jane's.
of course. Let me just pull that up real quick. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. I do not have the read, so much could do it off the dome. Open 7 days a week. That's where I get all of my best haircuts, and that's where you can get your best haircuts too. It is wicked awesome.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Cintron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Cintron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Cintron, and entered to win the Cintron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Cintron today at any Meijer location or visit drinkcintron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White and Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the minute-by-minute listing agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
We're back. You know what time it is, everybody. It's time for What's Trending with Lucas. Lucas, what do you got for us?
All right, fellas. So I'm just observing Neil behind you. He's walking backwards now on the treadmill. But I want to open the floor because there's obviously been a good amount of Chase Young talk that's going on here. We're going to keep it away from the Chase Young talk. And I want to talk about the Donovan.
We're going to bury it after.
Yeah, we're burying I think we just bury it right now. We're burying the Chase Young hatchet right now. It is over. We still trust in Brad Holmes.
Of course.
We're still rooting in the Lions to get to the Super Bowl. We still think there's a chance. We just think the path got a little bit difficult. That was the whole process in that thought. I want to talk about the Donovan Peoples-Jones trade because
DPJ.
I'm a big DPJ guy, and this is one of those things that's helping me calm down a little bit. DPJ, in my opinion, and I'm going to flip it to you guys, I think after watching the Lions in the red zone last week against the Raiders, especially with David Montgomery out, I think he not only is a great red zone threat as a receiver, but he brings that physicality in the run game. So you talk about when Jahmyr Gibbs starts breaking those tackles inside the 3-5 yard range, we now have a great perimeter blocker as well, because that's what people are harping about with J-Mo is he's a good blocker, but you don't see that consistency in the hands. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is a great blocker, and he has great hands. His ability to stretch the field is amazing. So I'm thrilled about it, especially for a 6th-round pick. What are you guys' takeaway from the DPJ trade?
I'm a big DPJ guy. I mean, of course he went to Michigan. Of course he's from Michigan. I get all of that. Like, that's awesome on top of that. But the player you're getting in DPJ, like you just nailed it, Lucas, his ability to stretch the field, he's another big body. Again, he's, I think, a significant upgrade over Marvin Jones Jr. At this point in his career. And it just gives you somebody else that you can rely on. Like, I get the move. I love the move. And I think DPJ will actually have a good quarterback. Like, I love that too. He what does he had? Baker. I mean, you had Deshaun for a little bit.
Yeah, and even
then you had PJ Walker.
Especially the thing that gets taken granted for Cleveland. Like, can you guys name a good Cleveland, like a great Cleveland Browns wide receiver ever? Like Cleveland, and what people don't think about, especially with the quarterback play, like that stadium is right off a fucking lake. It is right off Lake Erie. When you start getting in right now in October, November, December, it is so hard for a wide receiver to get consistent numbers with poor quarterback play over there. Like, there's never been a receiver that has life because Cleveland is just a place where if you're a skill position player, most likely, and you're not a running back, it's a place to die. It's just hard to succeed in Cleveland.
And you get another guy that can get separation. Like, what do you run, like a 4.4 at the Combine?
I don't know. I mean, we went to Kaz Tech, though, too. That's the other thing. He's a Detroit guy. Like, I think he's perfect for what this culture needed. But Flannel, he's a former Michigan Wolverine.
Yes.
Let's give this chat some life about your optimism a little bit because I know you like the DPJ trade. What are your opinions on the DPJ trade?
I mean, I said before, I think it shows a lack of faith in Jamison Williams. I'm just saying.
But and I get why you're saying that, but doesn't this give you a little bit more confidence just as the team in a whole? Like, take away J-Mo, because they needed to add somebody into this room regardless. And that's why people were saying that they need to go get a wide receiver. This room, you don't want to have an injury and then rely on 7th-round rookie Antoine Green with J-Mo struggling. You want to get a consistent factor there. So I think it's a Marvin Jones replacement for one. I agree. It helps with the J-Mo thing, but you got to admit, like, this is a move that we can take away from J-Mo, just a nice move.
Well, and they got him for a 6th-round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great value, by the way, for DPJ.
I don't know, though, and I'll keep digging the hole because I think I got the numbers on my side. Can't you get a Malcolm Rodriguez with a 6th-round pick?
You can.
A guy who you guys crucified me for saying that he's regressed a little bit, has 7 tackles in 8 games, and has a PFF grade of 38.7.
So this is a great value getting Donovan Peoples-Jones with a 6th-round pick, right?
I mean, if you
get Malcolm Rodriguez and DPJ in the 6th round, you're a happy guy.
I mean...
Oh, come on. I'm throwing you a bone, Flannel. I'm throwing you a bone.
Flannel. 6th-round pick, and it's in 2025.
Okay, fine. Yes, it's fine logic. It is fine logic, and Donovan Peoples-Jones has done some nice things for Cleveland.
I mean, Sam, you if you want to go off this, listen, he hasn't really been a big part of what they're doing this year, but why don't you just go like a year ago?
I know. 8 catches for 97 yards. And
but a year ago. How many catches did he have last year? I know he had 800 plus yards.
He was the deep threat he was Deshaun's deep threat last year. He was especially towards that last back half of the season. Dude, DPJ was consistent as hell. He's had PJ Walker and Deshaun Watson hasn't showed up.
He's gotten better in every season so far. Rookie, 300 yards. Second season, 600 yards. Third season, 800 plus yards. And then this year he hasn't been in the rotation.
Fourth season.
What?
4th season.
Did you hear what I said? The first 3 seasons he's increased his production, Sam. And increased his catches.
But it has gone.
What?
Miles back this year.
Do you think it has to do with PJ Walker playing 3-4 games and Deshaun Watson just not showing up for one game of this whole season, though?
No, that's all well and good. And like I said, Donovan Peoples-Jones is a fine pickup.
We'll just start with that.
All right. Then?
Okay.
You just keep bringing up that you're like, well, 8 catches for 97 yards. Okay, so what is it, Sam? Is it a bad trade? Just say it then. Is it a bad trade?
It's not a bad trade.
Okay. Then why bring what?
All right.
That's what that's where I'm lost. I'm like, which way is he going? Like, is it a bad trade?
Oh God.
Is it a bad? So it is a good trade. You like it?
Yeah. Good trade.
Okay, well, in other news, fellas.
Okay.
I'll be right. Speaking of the Browns, this can be the segue. I don't know if you saw. Josh Dobbs was traded yesterday. Kyler Murray's most likely not going to be starting this week. No, you know whose time it is. Clayton Tune. He is reportedly starting this weekend against the Cleveland Browns. The Tune Show, my darling of the NFL draft, my quarterback sweetheart. What do you guys expect to see from Clayton Tune this weekend against the Cleveland Browns?
Well, Clayton Tune.
He looked good in preseason.
What did Spencer say on Big D? He said, bet Rondale Moore anytime touchdown score. God,
Two of them.
Two of them? It's 2-time, Clayton 2-time. Now, he's, listen. I mean, Clayton Tune, if he's something, I'll give you credit. I don't know what he is, but I'm interested to see. Houston, he put up a lot of numbers, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what to really take away from Clayton Tune. Like, is he the future?
If he beats the Browns, I will be taking the biggest victory lap any of you have ever witnessed. Any of you have ever witnessed.
So we got Booner with Will Levis. We got you with Clayton Tune. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I want my friends like Lucas Klotz to be happy. So if
thank you, Flannel.
I just don't see it. I think that's not with him. Maybe as his career, but this is a tough spot to throw somebody into. And I think at some point Kyler Murray's going to be back, and they're going to want to play him. But if Clayton Tune, this might be his shot. Might as well take advantage of it.
I'm with you. Well, fellas, send it in the mailbag.
Right.
But first, I know we got to hear from a sponsor.
All right, let's do it. Listen, guys. Get your questions ready. We'll get to as many as we can. We'll try to read as many as we can. We got 10 minutes. We're not cutting into mailbag like we are usually. We're on time today. For mailbag, I should say. Sorry about that. All right, but first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Les Stanford, right?
Yep.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Les Stanford, what happens when you get over to Les Stanford? Well, they've run a great business for over 50 years, number one. But number two, you expand and offer to more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford has been trying to do by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. Of course, the same great service that if customers have come to know and understand on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile, check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness!
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Oh, we're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're in Shelby at Planet Fitness, the wonderful Planet Fitness. Man, this place is massive. If you guys, listen, if you're in the Shelby area.
Check it out.
What happened? Well, I'm going to tell you about 5 Iron first. Thank you, JB. Man, it's hard. I can't see what's going on. All right, downtown newest sports bar, 13 Trackman Simulator, certified instructors, and most importantly, hey, full barn restaurant. We stink, but hey, we like to have fun. You have a couple drinks, you get some chips and salsa. The chips and salsa is pretty good there. And you go and you just miss golf balls. That's what I do. It's a lot of fun. 5 Iron Golf has it all for you. Me and Lucas have been trying to get better. 5 Iron Golf allows us to try and get better. Use code Woodward10 for 30% off the league. That is 5irongolf.com to sign up. All right, like I was saying, Planet Fitness over here in Shelby Township, right in my neck of the woods, kind of by, somewhat by Lucas.
Like 25. It's about the same commute to work.
Yeah, so if you guys are in the area, man, come check it out. Big D Energy will be here. Ermanni Edwards will be here as well. We'll be here all day. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's get to mailbag. Patrick says beer helps. It does if you stink at golf, which, hey, I'll admit it. I stink. All right, let's get to some questions. Shad says, mailbag, when do we go from let's win the division, make the playoffs to we're one player away from the Super Bowl and everything is over this year? Well, Shad, I still believe they're going to win the division and make the playoffs. That's a given. I think they'll win the playoff game. I guess some people, with how the Lions have been playing, maybe had higher expectations and thought maybe this team could win a Super Bowl, and maybe they still can. But a lot of people felt like they just needed to make a move to just defensively to increase their chances. But maybe we're all stupid, and maybe they'll win anyway. Who knows? But that's where people were coming from, is they thought this team was Super Bowl bound, and with that comes higher, they feel like they need more things. Which might be the wrong take. That's how people feel.
I mean, when you got the division wrapped up basically by week 7 at this point, your expectations definitely do change. When you see the San Francisco 49ers look hella vulnerable to the point where they're not even leading their division, things change. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and the gauntlet they have of their next 6 games in the schedule coming up, things change. But it's Shad's world, and we're just all living in it.
This comment, Mike Bell, I would be happy with a division chip and a playoff win. Everything else exceeds my expectations. Well, I'm with Mike on that.
That's
you guys know
what
I've always said? And Booner came at me for that. Mm-hmm. I said this team will win a playoff game. And he's like, come on, man, say NFC Championship game, say Super Bowl. The ceiling, he's talking about the ceiling.
I think a good way to put it is the expectations of the Lions' floor for the season is the same. I think through these first 8 games, the ceiling, I think people have had higher expectation. It is raised. And I think the floor is still the same, but the ceiling might have dipped a little bit on people's expectations. That's the trade deadline.
Yeah, and if they get destroyed in the playoffs by the 49ers or the Eagles, they were never one player away anyway.
True.
So,
very good point.
You know what I mean? I get that point as well. But we shall see. Hockey Lord Mailbag, who had McDaniels as the first head coach fired this year? I totally thought it would be the LA Clippers to fire, the LA Chargers to fire first.
Or if
I have Clippers in my head from Harden being traded. But the Chargers, I'm with Hockey Lord, man. I thought Staley would be the first one fired.
I thought it'd be Eberflus.
You did?
My
Eberflus?
Toledo native, yeah. I thought it'd be Eberflus.
Not your
for
Toledo
sure.
boy. Come on.
I mean, Josh
did.
McDaniels, that's really not that big of a surprise, right?
No, he was going to be fired.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
I guess it's just like who gets fired first. Staley's got to be next.
Hey, we'll see.
You would hope.
Hey, if they lose,
one would hope.
if the Lions blow them out, then maybe he will, honestly.
Yeah.
Good point.
And by the way, Ski Mask Boy says this is a quarterbacks league. And you know what the Lions do check? If you look at one of the most important things for any organization to get right, and you guys, this is so true, you need to have the quarterback, the head coach, and the GM not only all on the same page, but all pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a good GM, a great head coach, or a good head coach and a good quarterback, you could do some special things. Now, if you have a great quarterback, a great head coach, and a great GM, I mean, you're talking about Kansas City. There you go. Like those teams do great. The Lions have a great quarterback, a great head coach, and a great GM. So by checking those boxes, they're still a damn good football team. Because you look around, you give me any team, and I'll go through that with you. The Chargers, great quarterback, bad coach, great GM. They're not going nowhere.
Nope.
You need to have those three things checked off. Like that just it is what it is. Let's see. Bob M. It's funny, Sam says I'm a Mahomes fan and a Lions fan, but every chance he gets to pump up the Chiefs over the Lions, just admit it, Sam, you're a Chiefs fan.
Nope. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I just the Kansas City Chiefs have pedigree and they deserve the benefit of the doubt more than the Lions. I think that's fair.
Let's see here. Let's try and get one more question. Tricia says, it only took a little research to find out what Martin Mayhew is the GM of the Commanders, the same Mayhew that we fired. This is business, guys. You should have known this. I don't know what Tricia's referring to, but yeah, Martin Mayhew is over in Washington. And, yeah, it's interesting what's going over there in Washington.
That's another one. Ron Rivera, I still do not know how
Ron
he has
Rivera
a job.
should be next. At least close.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy should take that job.
Eric Bieniemy should already have that job. They should have, when they hire, I mean, I get it, they're grooming him so he gets familiar with the players on the team and everything like that, but if you're going to tell me that Eric Bieniemy in 2023 should not have a head coaching job over Ron Rivera, I'm sorry, I do not see it.
Chuck Brewer, man, he asked earlier about your flannel. What's going on with the flannel? The streak's over?
Oh yeah, no, the flannel thing is officially dead. I'm gonna wear whatever I want, and it's okay. I thought I was turning over a new leaf and maybe trying to, make positive changes in my life, but day one didn't go so well.
That's all right, Flannel.
It's all
right. You're good, Flannel.
I might be in self-sabotage mode. Who knows? Some of you are probably going to be happy about that, but that's all right.
No. Yeah, despite what people say, we still love you, Sam. We do. Yeah. But hey, you don't want to wear a flannel?
Yep.
It's up to you.
Yep.
It is what it is. Shad says, do you think the Lions fans understand how trades work? Not people that assume that you should go trade everybody and you could extend everybody. Yeah, that those people are a little crazy. And even the people that are saying that Brad Holmes is on the hot seat, that is the dumbest thing ever. He's not on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Brian Dable should be on the hot seat? Brian Dable?
That's a tough situation to look at.
No, Brian, who just won Coach of the Year last year?
Yeah.
That Brian Dable?
It's a
Who
tough
the Bills wish they
situation
never
to
let
look
go?
at.
That Brian Dable? Or not let go, but wish
he
never
doesn't have
left?
good quarterback play, but he has made some questionable decisions. I'm not saying he needs to be on the hot seat, but I think there might be a coming to earth moment with Brian Dable, if that makes sense. I think he had, again, he exceeded expectations last year, and I think it might have kind of hurt him in the long run of things where people are now expecting the Giants to just be right there every time. It's hard to do what it did last year, so I'm not putting him on the hot seat, but I definitely expected more out of the Giants this year.
Well, what about this question? Is this true, by the way? Chico says, Spenny said winning the division wouldn't be an accomplishment. Do you agree? Is that true? I don't want to say. I don't know if that's true or not. Is that true, guys?
If it wasn't for if this wasn't the Detroit Lions, I see what he's saying, but I can't remember the last time the Detroit Lions didn't win a division.
No, winning the division is always an accomplishment.
Yeah,
no matter
I'm
who
saying,
you are.
if they were the 49ers, you don't win the division, but you sneak in with a wild card, you'll be upset, but it's not going to be a huge disappointment. If the Lions did not win the division, it would be a huge disappointment this year. So I don't agree with that take at all.
But even the 49ers, they're not even in the lead for their division. They want to win their division.
No, but it would be more accepted. It's all right, we still got a chance. You know what I mean?
I get it.
The Lions, the first step is winning the division. That's the first step.
I got to watch the heavyweights, man. People talking about they were going off yesterday.
No, they were on one. And I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm not saying I disagree with them, but they were, for a fact, on one, as people would say.
I did not know. I don't know what happened. I got to rewatch that.
They had to turn off the chat. I know Easy
turned off the chat?
Easy turned off the chat, yeah. Easy was pissed, man.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't turn off the chat, dude.
I don't
I'm
know if
sorry.
it's for the
I didn't
show.
know you could turn off the chat. Not that I want to, but I had no idea
you
you
never
could
turn
do
off
that.
the chat, man.
Yeah, no.
You can't just because we maybe disagree. Man, the heavies, man, they were battling the horde last night.
They were boots on the ground for the leading the how the hell did we not get Chase Young trade?
And that was like a live reaction. Like
yeah,
they
man.
went live
The worst
right
thing
after all
is
that.
it got its way onto my Twitter. I made a post. I was like, and I started off. I was like, listen, I want to make this very clear. I love Brad Holmes, and I started kind of just saying what I did on the show already, and it overtook into mine. I got called a bandwagon fan. I got people saying that Brad Holmes was overrated in my comments, which I completely disagree with. Like, I'm
sure it was probably just one of those days for the boys, you know.
Yeah.
Spencer and Easy, just maybe one of the days they were a little frustrated. They, you know.
I mean, I was frustrated too.
I mean, we were all frustrated, but I mean, I don't know what was said. Like, I thought I was pretty fair today. Like, I asked some questions. Still love Brad. I didn't come at the organization.
I think the only unfair thing that was said today was the Malcolm Rodriguez comments. Everything you guys said about the trade, I think it was pretty fair. The Malcolm's trade, though, I think that's what we had to put in check.
All right.
Burn says, Jeff, you were catching strays from last night. That's why things were so toxic this morning. Hey, man.
What?
Yeah, you know.
Why would you catch strays?
Chuck Brewer says, Sam, still respect you. Some of your views, not so much, but it's never personal. There you go.
you.
Chuck's got you.
No, right back at you. I honestly didn't even know that you could turn off the chat.
Yeah,
But
I didn't either.
I mean, no, that's not
just
okay.
yeah. I don't want to. Yeah. That's their show.
Maybe it might have just been on like Easy's computer or something. Maybe he turned off the chat.
Because I can see you can hide it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't need to do that. I
Well,
don't need to do
you
that.
know
I'm sure
what?
there's some way.
Yeah.
Shit happens, I guess. Well, appreciate you guys, man. Seriously, for all your patience. It really doesn't go unnoticed. I know it was frustrating this morning getting the stream up, but the boys were working hard. It's not like we don't try. These guys were busting their ass to get it going. We finally got it going. So thank you to you guys for getting it set up for us. And again, for you guys for tuning into the show, being patient with us. Even though we disagree, hey, it is what it is. You show support, and that is what matters. We're done with this Chase Young stuff.
It
was one of those days we wanted to address it and talk about it. We're not going to be bringing this up. You know how we feel about the Jalen Carter stuff. We shut that thing down. We don't talk about that no more.
Like, as disappointed as I am with the Chase Young thing, like, my ears bleed, my eyes bleed when I hear Jalen Carter's name. So we're going to treat Chase Young. We're going to treat Chase Young with the same energy.
And even I liked Bijan. I like Jalen Carter. All that stuff's done now.
They're not here.
They're
not here.
done.
The fact of the matter is they're not here. Move on.
All right, guys. Until tomorrow, have a great one. Again, Big D Energy, Ermanni Edwards with Maz will be here as well. So come. If you're in Shelby Township, come meet the guys. They'll be down here. Neil's putting in that pre-work on the treadmill, so you know how he rolls. But until tomorrow, guys, we'll have a packed show for you at the studio. Little update, I'll be out this week. I'll be out Friday, and I'll be out Monday. I'm getting my wisdom teeth removed, so I'm trying to see who's filling in Friday. I think Sticks Monday. He'll be holding it down Monday for the guys. I'm going to get his confirmation, so hey, it is what it is. Got to take care of business.
Wisdom keys.
It's on the bye week, so got to capitalize. All right, boys, we'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.